Sometimes being too perfect can be a bad thing, and sometimes some kingdoms just deserve to fall. It's really the feeling that I'm getting with Too Perfect Saint, tossed aside by my fiancé and sold to another kingdom, a new series in the spring 2025 anime season, a series that unfortunately is starting off very samey, and I'm kind of happy that I had 3 episodes to work with this particular show because, my gosh, the first episode was such a slog to get through. There's some times where certain tropey types of setups can be really hard to get through. We face it every single time a new isekai comes out, and it has to have the whole introduction of the character being reincarnated or being transported to another world, getting introduced to the new world. What this sort of fits more with is the idea of the kick from the hero's party. The idea of somebody being in a party, nobody appreciates what they do, eventually they leave the party, they go to another party, and then the previous party realizes, my gosh, they did a lot of stuff. This is sort of the female version of that, the idea of the female character that's underappreciated in their kingdom. They're kicked out of the kingdom, they're appreciated by the other kingdom before the previous kingdom realizes, holy crap, she did a lot of work. But yes, I watched the first 3 episodes of this show, and there's my thoughts on it. Too Perfect Saint opens up in the kingdom of Geltonia, where we have the presence of 2 different saints. In this world, every single kingdom desires to have at least one saint because they erect barriers, they kind of fend off monsters, they give blessings, all that kind of stuff. And yes, in this particular kingdom, they have 2 of them. We have Philia, who is the Too Perfect Saint. This is somebody that has worked very, very hard and pretty much mastered so much stuff, even mastered a lot of things that are outside of the realm of being a saint. All because, yes, it seems like in the past she realized nobody really likes her. She doesn't have charm like her sister does, Mia. Mia is the one that everybody loves. She's not as skilled as Philia, but she has a smile. She has the charm. Everybody just loves her presence. And so Philia sort of felt like she had to kind of outdo herself. She had to make up for her lack of charms by just being very, very useful. So she worked really hard, trained like crazy, and she pretty much handles any task. You even have some people bringing tasks to her that they think that she'll fail at, like concocting a new medicine, and she somehow pulls it off. This girl is just working really, really hard. But everybody hates her. And yes, technically because she's doing so much work, she's also getting a lot of people mad at her. You have certain merchants and whatnot that are exploiting people for their own needs, and Philia is sort of counterbalancing what they're exploiting, so they don't like her. There's a lot of people in the kingdom that want to get rid of her, including, yes, the prince himself, the second prince who she's actually engaged with. And this is unfortunate because she felt like because nobody wants her, her parents seem to despise her, she oversteps her bounds, she makes Mia look bad because she's causing so many problems. Well, being engaged to the second prince, she felt like, oh, yay, finally, I'm being recognized. Finally, I'll be useful to somebody. But yes, unfortunately, Julius doesn't like her. Julius does not like Philia. She's too boring. Gosh, this girl is just unpleasant to be around. Well, an opportunity comes to Julius. The visit of Oswald, the second prince of a nearby kingdom. See, Oswald's kingdom has actually recently lost their saint, and they're kind of in trouble. And he was doing a lot of research to find out who this Philia character was, and found out very quickly, gosh, this girl is amazing. Well, through a conversation between the 2 of them, they come to an agreement. Julius wants to get rid of Philia, and while Oswald doesn't know why he wants to get rid of her, he really badly needs a saint. So he ends up spending a lot of money, like an entire annual budget of the actual kingdom. And so the next time Philia meets up with Julius, he says, hey, our engagement has been gotten rid of, and by the way, I've also sold you off to a nearby kingdom. Philia's parents are excited by this. They finally get to get rid of Philia, and at the same time, yes, they get a lot of money out of the whole situation. So Philia is shipped off. She's not quite sure why they spent that much money on her. She kind of feels like, oh no, I'm gonna go to this neighboring kingdom and I'm just gonna be put to work. Basically gonna be forced servitude. These people are gonna work me to the bone. Why would they even spend that much money on me? I better get ready for a lot of work. But no, the moment that she arrives in this new kingdom, she's immediately welcomed by Oswald himself, and it seems like everybody is excited to see her. She's constantly looking for, okay, where's my first job? They're gonna probably put me to work immediately, and they're like, no, your first job is to have fun. You're supposed to enjoy the welcoming party. Well, cut to the next day, Philia immediately goes to work. Yes, in her previous kingdom, the moment the sun came up, she was immediately up. She was out and about, doing a lot of different tasks that it doesn't seem like the previous country even knew that she was doing. She immediately erects barriers to protect the land, does some magic in order to summon up some rain, working from dawn to dusk, even to the point where everybody's saying, hey, stop, you're overworking yourself. If you pass out, we're going to get in trouble. And yes, unlike the previous kingdom, in this new kingdom, everybody appreciates all the work that she's doing. She's getting rid of the monsters so the trade routes reopen, the crops are doing much better, they have this barrier being erected. Everybody's loving Philia. And yes, unfortunately, Philia doesn't even know how to respond to this. She's just not used to this. She always thinks there's an ulterior motive. Do they really like me? Are they upset? Am I overstepping my bounds? Are they going to get mad at me just like my mother did? Are they going to get mad at me just like the prince did? But at any rate, while all this is going on, eventually Filia discovers something in this new kingdom. There's an increase of monsters, which is a sign that something is about to come. See, in this world, you have the world where the humans are living, but underneath it, you have the underworld where all the demons and whatnot are, the demon realm. And as the demon realm gets closer and closer to the surface, eventually you'll have this kind of outbreak. And she knows it's coming, and that the barriers that she erected aren't going to be enough. So she proposed to the kingdom that they'll do this grand barrier, this thing that will require her to stay at the center, but it will protect the kingdom. Which, yes, to her surprise, everybody quickly accepts. But that doesn't alleviate her concern, because she knows that this is going to cause problems for the kingdom that she was once from. Not that she's worried so much for the kingdom itself, but more so for her sister, Mia. In the previous kingdom, her sister Mia was pretty much her only shine of hope. Like, she was the only person that made her feel welcomed. Before she left, she didn't even want to go home. She didn't even feel welcome in her own home. Mia was the only thing that she had to return to. And yes, so she's concerned for her sister. But she knows full well that her sister does not know how to create this grand barrier. So she wants to send her sister a letter in order to inform her how to do it. But yes, as you would guess, those letters aren't getting to her. Her mother and father are just quickly discarding this stuff. To make matters worse, things are getting really horrible in the previous kingdom. Mia cannot keep up with the surge of monsters. She doesn't know how to make this grand barrier. She very quickly realizes that something happened to Filia. She would not have left this kingdom without letting me know why. Everybody's saying, no, Filia ditched us. She just canceled the engagement with Julius and just ran off to the other kingdom. But Mia knows this is a lie. Her sister, the too perfect saint, wouldn't have just done that. She would have delegated all of her tasks, all this stuff that she would have done before she left. She just wouldn't leave without telling me. So she's looking into what the hell happened with Filia, all the way to the point of even accepting the prince's engagement just to get in buddy-buddy with him and eventually turn it on him. She eventually finds out that Julius and everybody kind of concocted this plan to get rid of Filia, and she's going to make them all pay. And that's basically the gist of the show so far. My thoughts on Too Perfect Saint. Like I said, and I alluded to earlier, it was a struggle to get to the first episode. The first episode of this show is not a good intro. It's too samey. It is over the top, comically evil against Filia. It was a struggle to get through. Yes, it technically plays into what you'd get with a, kick from the hero's party or something like that, where it's just over the top, comically evil. Everybody is so mean to Filia, despite the fact that it's showing all these signs. This lady is fixing everything. She's curing illnesses. She's protecting everybody. She's working nonstop. She's creating rain. She's doing all the stuff that everybody needs, but everybody hates her. Now, yes, I do understand the element of essentially getting on the wrong people's bad side. The idea that you're creating too much, that you're taking away necessities that people are profiting from. I understand that side of it. It does make sense from a side of a lot of merchants and nobles that feel like she's stepping into their grounds. They can get mad. And yes, those are going to be the people that are going to be pulling the puppet strings in order to get rid of her. But it's like a lot of everybody else, it doesn't make much sense why everybody seems to despise her. You even have thank you so much for helping with the situation, but she's so scary. So, oh my gosh, she never smiles. She's scary. Don't get on her bad side. Oh no, is she going to hurt? People chill. There is way too much emphasis on how derpy evil everybody is from the previous kingdom that it was a slog to get through. And having an entire episode to work with, it got tiresome. With a lot of these types of shows, they like to get past that stuff pretty quickly. Okay, let's spend 10 minutes showing how evil the kingdom is, get her out of there, and now suddenly she's in the good place. Okay, now what? With every single story, I just want to get past that tropey part and just get to what we're going to do here. And once we got past that, thankfully, finally, after an entire episode of it, that's when things started picking up for me. Yes, it was still kind of a slog to get through. Okay, everybody's super nice. Yes, we get it. Everybody's super nice. Everybody loves her. Let's move on. Let's get it to the new stuff. It took a while, but finally it started getting into sort of what I felt is kind of the bread and butter of the show so far, which is the characters that are around Filia. Getting the butler and the maid kind of following her around, seeing how amazing she is. It's getting that whole sugoi, she's so amazing type of stuff there, but it was charming. It had a lot of charm to it. The idea of how her essentially pulling off these crazy tasks, like erecting all these barriers in the entire kingdom within a day, whereas normally it takes one day for one barrier. That stuff where they're kind of shocked by her. They're trying to tell her to chill out because, hey, if you collapse, It's on us. We're gonna get in trouble. Please don't collapse. That kind of stuff was really charming. I really got a kick out of the butler and the maid as they kind of followed her around. The other thing that sort of does intrigue me about the show so far is Mia. I know it's odd that the one thing that I'm kind of interested in is the previous kingdom, which I typically don't really care for with these types of stories, is what they leave behind. But this one kind of for once works because it's Mia, the sister, who is the one that acknowledged who Philia was and how hard she worked. There is sort of an element here where it's not necessarily that people didn't like how good Philia was at her work. It was more of an idea of, yes, them not acknowledging everything she did. It's really a lot of different people not seeing the full picture of what Philia was doing. Like, for instance, the first time the prince runs into Philia, he mentions something about the fact of her getting rid of some lowly monsters. But later on, they'll acknowledge that no, she was doing this task all the time. It's this broader picture that he didn't even see. The idea that they only got reports from these one soldiers that she took out this one band, but in actuality, she was getting up early in the morning, going out, handling all this stuff, coming back to the village, meeting with some people, getting some new tasks, and then moving on. They don't see the full picture of everything she did. And this is something that Mia just cannot handle by herself. She can't fit those shoes, basically. But it's more so the idea that Philia was Mia's beacon of light. She looked up to Philia. She was the two perfect saint. She was beautiful. She was so good. She was always striving for that. And now that one thing's gone, and she knows that it was taken from her, that somebody backstabbed her, and she didn't see it during the time. She never realized while Philia was there how poorly she was treated. It finally clicks once she's finally gone. Once she finally overhears people talking about, yes, overhearing an entire information dump about... It's always this funny thing when somebody's walking down a hall and then they overhear somebody, yeah, we finally got rid of that Philia. Yeah, Julius totally sold him off to that Oswald guide, right? It's like, what is this conversation? Like, these two people are talking about something they both know about, but they have to lay out the entire thing so that Mia could hear the entire plot. Anyways, she overhears this and suddenly everything clicks for her. And she's angry. This girl is going to be possibly going full-on takeover mode. My assumption is what's going to happen is because she has accepted the engagement with Julius, she wants to essentially keep a long leash on him, and eventually, when the time is right, she's going to pull that leash in and get what she wants. There's a lot of emphasis that the previous king is bedridden, and apparently the first prince is ill, or at least he's shut in. So I'm kind of wondering if at some point she will realize the first prince was probably poisoned or something. She's probably going to bring Philia back in order to cure the prince. And then once that prince is back, Julius is out. And I think that's probably what they're going to do in order to kind of remedy the situation in the previous kingdom. Initially, I thought Mia was just going to leave. Just leave them without a saint. Just up and just walk out of the kingdom. But that would probably create two kingdom situation there where the two are going to probably be combative. But it does seem like she's going to be kind of dragging Julius along for a little bit and then at some point just kind of pull the leash in and say, you're going to do what I want. I don't know if she's going to be like, I don't know, using her beauty to lure him. Like, if you want this, you're going to do something for me or what? Or possibly just kind of manipulate Julius in order to take down her family. All signs are pointing to her parents aren't even worth saving at this point. Again, since everybody in the previous kingdom is so evil, we can just get rid of them as well. I don't know. We'll see. But so far, unfortunately, for narrative purpose here, the most interesting part about this show is really Mia. What is she going to do to this previous kingdom? Is she going to destroy it? Unfortunately, for Philia's side, it's just mostly everybody's nice. My gosh, everybody's nice. Everybody appreciates me. Now I have to learn emotions. I have to learn what love is. I have to learn about appreciating my own things. I have to learn what hobbies are. I have to learn that I can have things now. I can ask for things. I can enjoy things. And that's not really that interesting. So I'm hoping, since the Mia stuff is starting to kind of build up, I'm hoping that here soon we can start to get to something developing around Philia rather than just everybody's nice. But we'll see. I don't really expect too much because this is what you sign up for with these types of shows. It's about girl finally being appreciated. Isn't it nice? But we'll see. Visually, it looks good. It's being done by Choika, and Choika has always been a studio that's kind of up there in like a 7 or 8 area, and this definitely is falling in that same category. It looks good. It looks overall really decent, and I'm decently invested in the show so far. I'm interested to see where it goes from here, but that's my thoughts on the first 3 episodes of Two Perfect Saint. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, hit the like button down below, comment. Let me know what you think of the series. Are you liking it? Is it not working for you? Let me know. Additionally, if you're new here, make sure to subscribe before you leave. Like this content and want to support channel more. I have links in the script below. Greatly appreciate it. Until next time, y'all take care.